Welcome back. As I mentioned, we have Jeff Parker here who's going to give us a brief update on some things that are going on. Well, thank you. Welcome back. Hopefully you had a social distancing weekend.
Social distancing weekend is correct. We
Yes.
did get outside a little bit, which is one of the things we want to recommend to people. But again, that social distancing following state regulations is important.
Exactly. So you've got a couple of things you want to talk about, primarily entry into the gates, and maybe you can also touch on the gates again and which ones are open.
Sure. Well, one of the things that we have been evaluating, as we indicated to our residents before, was gate entry access for our contractors coming in. We made contact with the city of Laguna Woods and see what permits they're processing, and they're continuing to process permits or inspections with permits on activities that are going on already, that they've already issued. They're going to be evaluating whether they're going to be issuing any. So our recommendation right now is we're going to allow access to contractors who have a permit from the city who are doing work in the village. So they're going to show that permit at the gates, and we're working with those residents and contractors to make sure that when they go into a unit that they're using the distancing recommendations by the state. So that'll address the ability to finish projects that are ongoing, and wanting to make sure that people can get back in their units if they happen to be displaced at this point in time. But it is essential work that we want to see completed, not something new. So from our perspective, we're going to continue to not issue any consent type of activity where somebody's just wanting to get something done. So through our permitting process, we're not going to go forward with that. And then we're going to, again, discourage all non-essential work out there, because the less activity coming into the village, the less chance there is of the spread of the virus, we hope.
Okay, and then I guess you have been receiving a few emails and people are concerned. So let's address the first one. You said it was talking about protected emails. What does that mean?
We received an email from a couple of residents that were concerned because there's a little red dot on some emails that kind of tells you whether it's encrypted or not encrypted, that people have that kind of knowledge about emails. The email that they were referencing, and what we know, is our code red email that we sent out to our residents, letting them know about the gates and that type of activity. That is a email that's done by bulk. And I want to stress to the public that it's not something they have to worry about, because it is a bulk email. It doesn't go through our servers. So it's not information that's going to be allowed somebody to hack into that email and get into our system. So that is protected from that perspective because it's set up totally different. And I want to make sure that the public wasn't concerned about those bulk emails. Our emails that we send out directly from the village are protected via our security system with our servers and our operations. But it's just the bulk emails don't have that designation because they are sent in a bulk manner and not connected to our program.
Okay, perfect. So they don't have to worry about that. All right, good. And then, so I mentioned about the disposing of the Lysol disinfecting wipes. Why is that so important?
Well, it's important to use them. We don't want to discourage people from using them, but the problem is that they don't break down. And so when they don't break down, they're clogging up our sewer system. And so unlike toilet paper that breaks down immediately, these wipes don't, and they can clog up a sewer system. And you certainly don't want a clogged up sewer system at this point in time when you're living in a confined situation where you're staying at home. So like you indicated, throw it in the trash, use them, but throw it in the trash and dispose of it that way.
Okay, perfect. And then one last thing is in regards to the status of our employees. I know we have scaled way back, and we do have some people that have been shifted around. Tell me what they're doing now.
Okay, two things. One, when we went into this 2-week mode of following the state guidelines and everything, we had stepped up that operation before even the state came out. So starting today and for the next 2 weeks, we have most of our employees working that can work remotely. So that's number one. So that's very, very important because we're still getting the activities and the businesses of the village done. We're just doing it remotely. Some of our operations out in the field, like landscaping, we're going to continue because we believe landscaping is essential to maintaining the quality of the village, and we want to ensure that we have safety with regards to tree trimming and hillside maintenance because of the fire concern. So those are essential services that will continue to operate. There'll be a few people in the office, but mostly they'll be telecommunicating. Now, employees that can't, that in the case of employees that could not telecommute, or we aren't in need of those employees at this point in time because it's not an essential service, they had the option to take part leave from the village and using their sick leave and their vacation leave to put together that 2-week. We're not firing them, we're not laying them off. We want them to be available to us in the future, but we wanted them to have the opportunity to use their sick leave and their vacation leave to cover this 2-week period. Going forward, if this continues to be a long-term issue, we're going to have to reevaluate our whole complete staffing operation for the village.
Well, you and everybody else. I mean,
Exactly.
we're certainly not alone. And one thing I'd like to point out is that there's varying hours now. It's not just a normal, 9 to 5 kind of thing. I mean, some people are working 24/7, maybe on call. I mean, I know that, our staff for TV6, if there was something that was happening, we'd be here.
Right,
to make sure that the community knew what was going on.
And we mentioned before extending out our social services hours from 8 to 8 so that we can take more phone calls. We'll continue to do that. And we'll have a online response to the emails that are coming in. That's going to be real important because we want to continue to communicate with our residents and members out there.
All right, well, perfect. Anything else?
No, those are the main things I wanted to say. Be safe out there to our community. Protect yourself. Social distancing is really, really important. But don't be afraid to get out and get some fresh air too.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And remember that we are all trying to do our best here for you and heed all of the advice and use all of your resources. We'll be right back.